With the international break in full swing, well, it could do with a push to get it swinging, to be honest with you. We have got nothing else to talk about, but we're here to discuss a little bit of West Ham news that is knocking about during this international break. Of course, our next game comes a week tomorrow against Aston Villa up at Villa Park, where when that game's going on, will be cruising my way into France. Just saying. I hope you are all well. Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial, to the West Ham News Show, and to a live show discussing all of the goings on. And Phil is joining me to help me do that. Phil, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Jake. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Our telly's broken, so this is our only source of entertainment all night.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that is most certainly interesting. But there's only one place to start, and that is with the star man, Mohammed Kudus. A little bit of a debate on him. Look, 14 minutes against Newcastle came on and made the difference. Scored the goal and earned us a point. There's no doubt about it. How long can Moyes keep putting him on the bench? And do you think now, after that goal and confidence boost coming back after the international break, do you think it's time for Kudus to slot in the Premier League? If so, how does he do it?
Well, I think he should have started against Newcastle, to be honest with you. I've seen, the impact that he's done when he has come off the bench when he played against in Europa League, when he scored his first 2 goals. And then again, when he come on at the Sheffield United game, he come on when he finally got his touch, making electric runs into the box and lifting the whole crowd. And then again, Newcastle actually getting the goal towards the end of the game as well. So we can see his qualities, his attributes, and all that. They're really coming together real quickly. So I think it's the best time to get him in now, see what he can do starting. But this is the problem. Where we're going to start? We're going to do him up front. Are we going to do him just behind? Is he going to be out in the wing? Who knows? But I'd like to see him actually given a chance up front, see how he does there.
Yeah, Moyes has got a conundrum to sort of dwell over in the next couple of weeks, or a week now that he's got left. You mentioned the Sheffield United game there. I don't know, you were there, I was there as well. Is that was a sort of testament to the way he's going to play, because that game was crap. That game was really, really bad. And he came on, he dropped his shoulder, he went past about 5 players. All of a sudden, the crowd are up. He's going to be an entertainer, a Dimitri Payet-like sort of player that, when he gets on the ball, we're all going to be excited about what he's going to do next. He's that sort of player, a little bit like Paqueta, I think. And the way we're going to slot him into this side, I think, is the debate that we should have. Is many people have discussed, but you can't drop Souček will be where most people will play. You can't drop Souček at the moment. He's scored more goals in 8 games so far this season. He scored in 38 last year combined together. So you can't drop Souček at the moment. That's out of the question. Antonio, he's the focal point up front. Will Moyes drop him? Probably not. But not many people have discussed what you said there about maybe putting him out on the wing, which I would be in favour of. I don't think Saïd Benrahma has been very good in a long time. He's dropped down to the bench in recent weeks, where Paqueta has gone down to the left. I think Paqueta's a little bit wasted out on the wing, in my opinion. I think his sole and best position is in that midfield. But if you move Paqueta back to midfield, where's Souček going to go? We've just got too many players that need to fit into not enough positions at the moment. And this is where Moyes has got to earn his money now, Phil.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's this sort of headache that we've all been wanting for years, really. Like, we've got too many good players and where to put them all in. So I know before we signed him, I've seen on other channels where they'll say, like, his best positions, he plays up front, he plays at number 10 role, he plays out on the right. But I was thinking, well, the right's already covered with Bowen, so see what he's like going on the left.
Yeah.
Convert him over there. So if Paqueta, who's now been put out onto the left, obviously he's better in the middle, but we know what he's like when he has that link up play with Emerson. So it's an interesting one, really. But I wouldn't mind seeing him go up front and then Antonio come on as a super sub, doing a little, then put him down to like the attacking midfielder.
Yeah,
it's an interesting one.
I think there's pros and cons of every position you can put him in. Sean WH here, good evening. Hope you eat. He says I would drop Antonio and give him a go up front. He can do it there. His goals are good and he looks strong. See, as I said, there's pros and cons for all positions. For me, what I'd say to that, I'm more of an Antonio fan than most. I like Antonio more than most West Ham fans, more than the average one, I'd say. And the issue that I have dropping Antonio full stop is that, yes, it's okay for 20 minutes at the end of the game, but if you look, and even when we've played Kudus up front for short spells, yes, I get that, short spells so far this season, but it's the same when Bowen or Paqueta leads the line up there. We lose that focal point, and when we're under the pump, when we're under pressure against sides like Newcastle, who could have really banged into us towards the end to get a winner, our get out is Zouma lumping it long to Antonio and hoping it's going to stick. If you put a Kudus, Paqueta, or Bowen there, that ball's pointless because any of those players aren't going to win a header against Premier League centre halves. Most Premier League teams have got 6 foot plus centre halves, and the infuriating thing against Newcastle was we kept knocking it to Dan Burn, the tallest guy on the pitch, and he kept heading it down easy as he liked. And that's our get out, is just lump it up to Antonio. Well, sometimes it would stick, sometimes it wouldn't. Don't get me wrong, he didn't bring it down and control it every single time, but he was that focal point up there, and I think that's a key component to the way we play. If Kudus becomes the starter up front, we're going to have to change that, Phil, full stop.
Yeah, I think when you put it like that, you're true about that, where, like you say, with Antonio being the focal point, but we've got the players just play it on the floor. Just do a nice little through ball. He's got the pace to just go past people. But it's that also, with conundrums like that, it's the same thing with like why we don't put Bowen up front, because then he loses a lot of his strengths and qualities, what he brings when he's on the wing. So, if anything, I'd like to see Kudus be up front, but I would be in favour of him playing out on the left and then cutting inside. If he can work on that and then make that one of his strengths, then yeah, that'd be good. I know Souček's obviously, he's had a rich vein of form of late, but Paqueta is obviously going to be the better player, and he's been just as outstanding, really. So I'd still have Kudus. If you are keeping Antonio up front, have Kudus on the left, then Paqueta, then Bowen.
Yeah, look, in a perfect world, we'd start all these players. Really, in a perfect world, we want to keep Bowen in his favourite position. And I don't think we have really established to an extent the best position of Mohammed Kudus yet. We've been told he's good at up front, but from what I've seen so far, he's looked a little bit lost up there, in my opinion. I think from what I've seen, probably the best position for him could be on the wing, cutting inside, sort of doing that Ben Rama role. But we've got Paqueta playing at the moment, and I think Paqueta's not lost, but I think Paqueta's less valuable out on the wing than he is in the middle. I think he's a much better and more impactful player when he plays through the middle of the park. But then that's where Souček's playing at the moment. In an ideal world, we'd all like to have Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Souček, Paqueta, Kudus, all of these players. Well, we want all of them in the side, but one of them's got to drop down. It's not going to be Kudus. It's not going to be Alvarez. It's not going to be Ward-Prowse. It's not going to be Paqueta. He's not going to drop Souček. So at the moment, he's not getting in this side unless Moyes is mastering up a plan and is going to deceive us all, Phil.
If he's got a plan that none of us are going to see, then hopefully that would work. But he probably won't do that, because we know a lot of the time what he's going to do. But it's a different sort of thing where it's hard, where we've all got a lot of good players all performing, and then, like you say, a sacrifice for one person who's got to drop down onto the bench, but they can still be just as impactful when they come on, which is what Kudus has been doing at the moment. But you pay all that money for him, he's going to be starting at some point. So hopefully this weekend coming, he will do that. Where that will be, who knows? But it's a different type of headache that we've not had in a very long time, because normally one person would be injured, then it makes it a bit easier. Then they can slot in a bit better.
For sure. Kent, hope you well, mate. He says Antonio out 60 minutes in his legs only by a proper striker, and we are a striker away from a regular top six. Now, this is a statement. We'll come back to this because a couple of comments I want to go through, and we'll discuss it. I think we're an Ollie Watkins away from the top six. Some people may disagree. I think we're an Ollie Watkins. He's doing well in the England squad. A striker that's going to do the role Antonio does, and score goals and score a decent amount of goals. If we bought Ollie Watkins, and I know there's this big debate. If we bought Ollie Watkins instead of Ben Rama, I reckon we're a top six side right now, because he I just think that's the frustrating thing about it. And Ben Rama's been, on the bench and not really doing it. I think if we'd have bought Ollie Watkins, we'd have stayed around that area, or even any proven striker. Well, we bought a proven striker, Phil, didn't we? Good old Danny Ings.
Yeah, it looks like we bought the wrong striker from Aston Villa by the
We
looks of
bought
it.
the wrong one. Yeah. We bought the Poundland version.
I always say it is a shame that Danny Ings hasn't worked out, though, because he's obviously
It's painful. It is painful.
Yeah, it is. He's banged it in everywhere he's gone, but not here.
Typical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pure
I mean,
typical.
I mean, you never know. He could just wake up one day and they will just go back to the classic Danny Ings. But at the moment,
I'd like to think it, but there is no signs at all. There is no signs at all that I can see currently in Danny Ings becoming the striker that he was. I think he's just lost his legs, to be honest with you, and he's lost the. I don't know whether he's lost the desire or not, but I wouldn't blame him if he has lost the desire, because he's been crap. And the dreaded Antonio for Ings substitution just completely halts any attacking threat that we've had, which is sad, because we were all begging out and praying to sign a proven Premier League striker, and we did, and look what we've got. It's only at West Ham. Let's take some more of your comments. Sharky, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Albert as well, good evening. I'm a fan of Kudus from Ghana, trust all as well. He's very good. He's very good indeed. Mark, hope you remember, he says, hi guys, no super chat, anything on anymore. Unbelievable. We're having issues with YouTube, prolonged issues with YouTube, which we are hoping to resolve. I'm not holding my breath, is what I'll say. But hopefully things can return to normal. But at the moment we've got no super chats, we've got no adverts, we've got nothing going on. So we're here for the love, is what I'd say, Phil. Nothing else currently. Nothing else.
Just got to listen to us.
Exactly. But Mark, thank you for the concern. Cheers, mate. Sharky says Kudus should start soon enough. Antonio to be benched. I don't see Souček being left out. He brings good work rate and is important in regards to winning the ball in the air. Yeah, especially with the birth to form. I mean, Moyes wouldn't drop Souček when he was the worst player on the pitch every week last season, which was what was happening. There's no doubt about it. He was poor last year. He's not going to drop him now when he's scored 4 goals in 8 games and he's loving life. So I think we can strike off any hope of Souček, or hope. It's not hope because he's playing well. Any chance of Souček being dropped. So I think the obvious option is Antonio, and just having a sort of rummage around and getting players into the right positions, which I think could be a difficult job, Phil.
Yeah, but the thing is with Antonio is obviously I like Antonio when he's on form. He's really on form, but it's like he does all the hard things, but it's the one simple thing that you want your striker to do. It's getting the right positions, and score, which he doesn't do enough. Where he takes that extra touch, and it is very frustrating. Like, I remember when I was at that Sheffield United game, and it was when we was all milling about in the box, and the ball went to him in the 6-yard area. This was about 60 minutes, whatever. Didn't take the touch, and then they cleared it out. The person who stood next to me, he just left. It was half an hour left of the game, and he just went because he pissed him off that much, basically. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, unless you're gonna, he goes back to his purple patch from a few years ago. He's just gonna be there. But it's good to have a player like him in the squad.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take some more of your comments. Usual suspect says, will Moyes turn Maguire into a centre forward in January? Yeah, I've seen because Maguire mentioned it in a press conference, didn't he? For England, saying that there wasn't an agreement, so nothing could happen. Look, we were going to sign Maguire for 40 million and we got Mavropanos for 20. I know what I'd prefer. That's what I'd say. That's YouTube for you, Mark, unfortunately. Oh, it is, Sharky. It is. You don't know the half of it, trust me. You don't know the half of it. Sharky says Watkins would have been fantastic. Kent says, as you know, I've wanted Watkins since his exit days. Must be 6 years at least. Yeah, and you've been proven right again, Kent. I think he would multiply. So I know it's hypothetical, so it's never going to happen. He's not going to leave. He signed a new contract at Villa's, committed his future there in the last couple of weeks. But just imagine in this team we've got. I think this is the best talented squad we've had since I can remember, and I know that's not a long time, but this is the best squad that I can ever remember. And just topping it off with that striker up there would make it perfect. And even if here's a question, Phil. If we're in a similar position now and Europe doesn't take its toll and we all keep going, it's going well in the Premier League and we're lurking around mid-table in a hope for the late European push, how much do you think Moyes may, if Kudus up front doesn't start, want to go sod it? I'm going to spend all of my transfer budget on a proper and get the striker decision right. And how much do you think that could almost multiply our chances of pushing on in the second half of the season? Because it feels like that's the big component currently just missing in this, cog of works, I think.
It's exactly the same as 2 years ago. We didn't sign any striker when we was last time in the Europa League. So if and he goes out and he does that, gets a proper striker in, does all the scouting right, then you'll see us elevate into the, we'll stay up in the top 4 even, and then we'll have a great finish, because then I don't feel like anyone's going to burn out as much because we've got a bigger squad than before. So if we did our scouting correctly and he wanted to blow his budget, get someone good, younger as well, that would help, and then maybe sell a couple of other players. And I could see us really, really going for it in Europe. We won't have that burnout like what we did the other year.
And I'd be incredibly excited in that prospect now because of the man that's at the helm of transfers at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. We saw, were you there? You were there, Phil, weren't you, when we saw Steiden striding along at Sheffield United? Were you there?
You told me when I met you there, but that was just before.
It was just before. Yeah, right. At the Sheffield United game, just before you turned up, Phil, Steiden striding along with his missus, with his West Ham suit on. He's just a beautiful man. What a beautiful man. And I tell you what, it is with him at the helm, and if Moyes goes in December in the January window, we've got X amount of money, and I want you to go and find the best striker for me, then I reckon we could, and I'd take whoever Steiden wants, because at the moment we've got absolutely no reason to doubt Tim Steiden. Alvarez looks the business. Ward-Prowse probably wasn't his signing. Kudus looks the business. Mavropanos looks solid. I'm sure I've missed someone, but I mean, all the signings that he's made, they look on point, and it seems like now for the transfer front that we shouldn't see many more absolute stinkers of a transfer. And whatever we do in January, I think if we can just push on that little bit further, I think it'll have a massive difference, Phil.
Oh, 100%. If all the planets, all the moons and all the solar systems, they all align perfectly, like all the astrologers like to think, then get someone in, right price, right, great goal tally as well from their previous clubs, and they fit in perfectly with everyone, then you'll see some really, really good things coming. We just got to just ride it out until the January transfer window, because it's nice to think that there is going to be some activity going on in January, because it's not often that happens. Obviously, Danny Ings come in January. That's not worked out. Nothing happened the year before. We was all annoyed. The year before that, we all moaned, and then we got Jesse Lingard. It
never really works out in January for us, does it? Thinking, when you just reeled all that off, I've realised we never really have a very good January transfer window, do we?
No, obviously Lingard worked out, but we still moaned about it at the time because nobody liked him. And then we liked him again. Then we
moaned about him even more.
And then again.
and again.
I mean, and again, I'm trying to think. The last time we had a decent signing in. Actually, no, scrap that. Bowen and Souček.
You've just taken the words out of my mouth. The last decent January transfer window we had, we did timely business. We signed Souček and Bowen in January 2020.
Yeah, it was
COVID, and those players didn't look very good right at the start. But Bowen grew into his game, as did Souček as well. That's probably the last time we signed some key players in a January transfer window that have gone long term.
That's right. I mean, if you want to go even further before that, then it's a bit more difficult. because I can't really
It
think.
was,
I
it
know
was
there
another.
was
Mm.
Snodgrass we got in January, but not everyone was a big fan of him at the start. It was when he came back from his loan spell, then he became sort of a lot better.
Mm.
But even then, before then, it's probably no one. Probably have to go all the way back to the 90s when John Hartson and Paul Kitson came in for the older fans.
Very good.
Mm.
Very good. Yeah, we just don't historically have a very good January transfer window, do we?
No,
Mark says, cheers, mate. I just don't understand it. When I look at some channels who are monetized and have less subs and terrible content, there's a lot of things that go into, they've got a lot of rules and a lot of laws, and I'm currently trying to fight my way out of it. But we're trying. Don't worry, we're trying.
that's the dark word, or is it the dark world of YouTube?
Yeah. Do Patro maybe, says Sharky. It's something that I never really wanted to do, but we may have to look into it in the future if we can't get it resolved, unfortunately. But yeah, we will come back to that at some point. Sean W8 says it's worth a try. I know Antonio does lots off the ball. Maybe we could do it the other way. Try Kudus from the start and then bring Antonio on later. He hasn't been prolific this year with goals. Yeah, Antonio scored that goal against Chelsea and he scored that goal against Brighton as well. So he's scored 2 goals so far in the Premier League campaign. Listen, when people talk about goals for Antonio, I never really listen because he's not in the side for goals. He's in the side for the focal point and the presence that he conveys up front. But I mean, he is the striker. He has got to score goals as well. And I think maybe it is time. At his age, was he 33 now? At his age, maybe it is time for him to just step to the side. Because Mohammed Kudus is 23, full of life, full of pace, full of energy, and hopefully full of goals, Phil.
Yeah, 100%. We've got to remember with Antonio, we never signed him as a striker. We signed him as a right midfielder who ended up going into right back and then back up further forward. Then we bring him in to up front because that's what Moyes was doing to players at the time. Obviously, it worked. And then we just kept him up there. But, a lot of us have said about that striker's instinct where he seems not to have sometimes. He might take that extra touch where he didn't need to.
When he thinks about it, he has a mare. But when he just bang and goes for it, I mean, those 2 goals he scored so far this season, Antonio, incredibly well taken goals. I mean that strike, he pushed off the defenders against Chelsea, drilled it in. It's a really smart finish against Brighton. But they've just dried up, and I mean, both of those goals came in August, and we're now in October. He hasn't scored since. They've just dried up.
Yeah, it's almost like he's going to try and live off those 2 goals now, really. So it's look, he's got all those great strengths, literally, holding off the ball. But that's, we've had, there's been strikers like that in the past, not just for West Ham, but like in the Premier League. You have them up front for their strength, but they just don't have that striker's instinct, or they don't score as many. So there's, like you say, he's got good bits to his game and he's got bad bits to his game. But now he's getting on. You slowly, you've got to get him out, get someone else in. We've still got Mubamo, who's hopefully will break through, but time will tell on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Some look at some of your comments. Kenneth says Kudus is never and can never be a player to bench. Why bench him? Is it because of Souček? I laughed my heart out when I was told that Souček is playing because of set pieces. Listen, I think Souček, and I think Sean W just mentions it here. There's no doubt about he's had a renaissance. He's had a sort of comeback, a resurgence of form in the opening. What is it? How many games we played? 9 games so far, 8 games so far this season. He has been better, and currently, I mean, Moyes wouldn't drop him at the height of crapness last year, so he definitely isn't going to drop him now, as I said earlier. So the Souček dropping debate can just be ditched because that's not going to happen. And we've got to find a way for Kudus to get into this side in another way. Kent says Jonathan David would be my other choice because my choice apart from Watkins was Marcus Thuram, but he has gone to Inter. I've got trust in Tim Stein. He'll bring in somebody nobody's ever heard of, and hopefully fingers crossed they can be the man for the job. Bowling about with Stein, literally, in no word of a lie, he did the security check like the rest of us have to, the crap security check. He had the do, and then he just walked straight past, hands in pockets, and he was going to his box or whatever. And to be fair, I was going to ask for a photo, but I thought, no, I'll just leave him. Because then, if I'd have gone out for a photo, then I think more people would have noticed, and he'd have had about a queue of people, and he doesn't want that. I sort of commended him walking around with the rest of us peasants.
Yeah, it's funny that it's like when you walk. I don't know if you've ever done it. Like if you walk down the street or in London or wherever, and then you see someone who's famous, not like Hollywood famous, but sometimes what I call like panel show famous. You know, like comedians, you see that, and you do that look. But you don't want to. I'm too shy to sort of say hello or anything, unless it was like at work. Then that's different.
Yeah, fair enough. That is a good point. Kudus is going to AFCON in January, along with Gerd with Morocco and Ben Rama with Algeria. Is there another one? Is it just those three? Cornet with the Ivory Coast. Yeah, so that's 4 players. I mean, Cornet, just count him. He doesn't do anything. He's the ball boy. But that's 3 really key players. And just because we're talking about Kudus, that's going to give Antonio the opportunity to come straight back in and solidify his place in the side, even if Kudus can break his way through, Phil.
So, yeah, he's going to be... I know that Antonio, he'd be wanting, you know, the that competition and the fight for that up front place, what he wanted the other year. Now he's had it all of this calendar year anyway. Moaned about it at one point, but it's good to keep him on his toes, really. So even if we was to start Kudus up front for the next 8 games or 10 games up till New Year's or in the start of January, then and then Antonio, he can sort of rest a little bit if he's coming off the bench for play half hour the last bit of the game or playing in a couple of Europa League games, then he'd be fit and ready proper to start when Kudus is off. Yeah,
for sure. Just picking up on the January transfer that we've made, Aston in 2006.
Oh, yes. I'll make you right on that one.
That's a good one. And Sharky rightly points out, Jake wasn't even born, so Jake can't comment. Jake was purely a thought. Purely a dream is what I'll say. In January 2006, not even in the plans.
To be fair, I was born in 1995, and the January transfer window didn't come out until 2003.
Right, I didn't know that. Was that 2003 when it actually came out? I didn't know that. I just presumed it always happened.
Yeah, I used to think that, but it was apparently they kept it for the Championship and League One for a couple of years after, but it used to be until the last 10 games, I think. Older people, they can comment about that, but yeah, it was 2003.
More experienced people, we like to call them, Phil. Come on, let's not be rude.
The more experienced fans, they can comment on that. But yeah, but in that first January transfer window, 2003, it was the season we got relegated. So I remember we brought in Les Ferdinand and Lee Bowyer. Don't know if there's anybody else, but we brought them in that window. And they went because we went down. That didn't work out.
Christ. Kent says, at the last game I saw 10 or 12 ex-players, 10 to 12 ex-players, sorry, they wouldn't have been able to walk 10 feet at Upton Park. Nobody stopped them last game because people didn't recognise them. Yeah, that's the sort of shame. You know, they have loads of the players go into the lounges and do the ambassador stuff, and there's a lot of people that don't recognise all these players, which is a bit of a shame, but they are brilliant, most of them, if you get chatting to them. I mean, we've met Jimmy Quinn through this, who we met at the Man City game, who does some ambassador stuff there. Through the DT38 Golf Day, we met a load of them there, and look, they just like having a chat about football, most of them really, and yeah, they are really nice. People say you shouldn't meet your heroes, but most of them are decent. Vaz Tay was signed in January, the year we got promoted.
Very good one.
You can always count on Kent bringing out a good answer.
I was thinking about Kent when I was saying all that other stuff, because I know that he'll have all the knowledge of every player. But yeah, Vaz Tay, he was one of the best January signings that we've ever done, just for that promotion push, 100%.
Yeah. So we'll take a final call. Any very good West Ham January transfer window signings you could think of, lob them in the chat, and we'll have a chat about them. See, we were talking about Kudus, and we got on a January transfer windows and players that had signed. The tangents we go down. Honestly,
I love talking about this sort of thing. It's nice to remember, reminisce.
Exactly. I wonder when the fans will come up for a song for Kudus. The Mohammed Kudus, running down the wing. Kudus. One was knocking about, so that one might resurface, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. March. So it used to be in March. I did not know that. You learn something new every day. The transfer window was in March, if my memory serves. Your memory is always bang on, Kent. So I'm going to take yours and Sharky's word for it. March. So the season ended. Did the season like you used to end like the same sort of time as it does now?
Still May, yeah.
So still May. So it was March. So it was only March. So if let's say the transfer window was in March, so it was for a month, then we'd only have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'd only have 8 more games after the transfer window shut if that was still about. 8 more games left of the season if it was in March. That's crazy. That's crazy. See? Learn something new every day. Mark says Hartson and Kitson were January signings. There we go. I can't comment. I wasn't even a thought then, Mark. I wasn't,
Then again, going back to my thing about, because I think I mentioned that before I said about the January transfer window, so probably assume they was sort of middle of the season, but you'd have to go on Wikipedia and see when they actually signed for that one. But it was sort of halfway through the season, I think.
Jordan Hugill, a January signing.
I'm not saying nothing.
I'm trying to have a look. Right, I'm going to have a little gander. Right, I'm going to go back a good few years. I'm going to go back to prime, like all the crap players. 16, 17. I bet we signed some absolute whoppers then. Let's have a look who we did sign.
Snodgrass was there, wasn't he?
Here we go, 16, 17. I thought we signed Lanzini that year on a permanent transfer. Snodgrass, you're right. Jose Fonte, Edmilson Fernandez. There we go. Simone Zaza, Jonathan Calleri, Gokantor, Sofian Faguli, Harvard Northite. Alvaro Arbeloa, he was crap. Who else have we got here? A couple of others. I don't know whether they were in. January or the transfer or the summer, but I just wanted to mention all those names.
I had to take my headphones off. You were saying those players. I mean,
don't they bring back some memories?
I mean, with Jose Font, because I think we signed him in the January as well as Snodgrass. And I think at the time he was one of Liverpool's best players, even though he was agent of Liverpool. I mean, Southampton. And all their best players went to Liverpool, and he was one of the only ones who didn't do that. Him and, funny enough, Ward Prowse.
There we go. I found the option. So now I've got January transfers only. So in 16-17, we signed 3 players in January. Snodgrass, you got that one right. Jose Fonte, who we're discussing, and Daniil Henry. I can't even remember him.
Was he really? I mean, I remember. Well, we had him only because I remember him on like FIFA, but we never played him. I thought he was. We had him the year before that, unless he went out on loan or somewhere. He was Canadian.
There we go. That's what you discussed. I just got on a random season, 2002 and 2003. Les Ferdinand, you got that one right. We signed Rufus Brevet in the January transfer window. Lee Boyer as well. So there we go. Glenn Johnson we signed from Millwall in 2002.
I'm sure he went out. He was in our academy. I think he went out on loan to Millwall. I think.
Oh right.
Yeah.
There we go. So that concludes that. We've had that bit of fun. Otherwise, we could be here all night going through all the years. But
let's do it. Let's keep on going.
Let's take some of your comments. We need a proper left winger, says Man. You put Kudus up. I think Kudus might drift out to the left. That's just my gut, but I don't know. Best transfer window: Hartson, Kitson, and Lomas for about 8 million quid combined, and Lomas stayed for many years. Yeah, Jesse Lingard, we discussed him a little bit earlier. We signed him on the 1st of February, actually, so technically it wasn't a January transfer window signing. No, you are correct. You are correct. I'm not even going to pronounce those names because I've never even.
Oh yeah, I remember them. The Italians. There's
Mark
Borriello and Marco
Nor.
Borriello.
Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go. Can't say I've ever heard
Nocturino.
of them, but Kent's always right. There we go.
Yeah,
Lingard had to be the best January signing for us on impact.
I'd
Patrice
agree.
Evra. Oh,
Oh,
that was a typical West Ham end of season. Give him a lot of money. Jack Wilshere, Patrice Evra, all
he's
of those
one of the
sorts.
most pointless signings we ever had was
Yeah,
Patrice Evra. I mean, he was finished for about 3 or 4 years by then.
yeah.
I don't know why we brought him in. I think because at that time that's when you see him on social media going, "I love this game" and all that, and then we brought him in for that. I think.
Here's some. I've got some more. I've just clicked on a random year. I've gone on 2008, 2009. Junior
Oh God.
Stanislav, who's just retired from professional football. Radislav Kovac, who remembers him,
Yeah, I remember Kovac. I remember
and
him.
drum roll.
Oh, don't! I know you're going to say
Who?
Savio
Yeah, Savio. Yeah, Savio. You got it right. How do you know that? How do you know that?
because
Savio
I'm.
Nuskarin, whatever his name is. There we
Yeah,
go. Talk
I'm
about
Kent
him, Phil.
Hammond's.
What a player.
He had 2 left feet. So what I remember about Savio. So at the time it was when we had the Icelandic owners, and it was in that period where everything went. It all went tits up with the banks in Iceland.
Yeah.
So we had no money. We were getting random players we'd never heard of. So he was about £9 million record transfer from Brescia, Serie B side, second division in
You've
Italy.
got that bang on. Serie B, Brescia. If you tell me how much we paid for him in euros, I'll give you a prize, Phil.
Oh, I don't know the exchange rates. I'll stick to the GB sterling, thank you.
Go on then.
But
Go on then.
I know it was 9 million
I will translate
pounds.
it. All right, I'll give it to you. 8.5 million euros. You can have that.
Oh, yeah,
And
that'll
your
do.
prize is, I didn't think you'd get it right, so I've got nothing, to be honest with
That's
you.
right. I've got half a gummy bear.
But yeah, that's it. That'll do.
That'll do.
Savio. There we go. I tell you what, if you want to know a bit about Savio,
Oh, that's a story, isn't it?
Nikki and Ryan did an interview with James Collins at some event which they uploaded to YouTube
Yes,
on
saw
the
that.
other night, and I saw a clip of it, and I think James Collins had a few to drink, and he wasn't quite so complimentary about Savio. He used a rather naughty word to describe him. You
He
can,
did.
it's a brilliant interview. Go and watch Ryan and Nikki's interview with James Collins over on West Ham Fan TV. It made me chuckle when I'd never watched Savio play the way he described him, but yeah. This light keeps flickering and it's really annoying me. But anyway, Mike's joining us. Mike, hope you are well, mate.
Yellow Mike.
The wife has got Strictly on. Well, then
Sorry about that.
You've got nowhere else to be. Then you've got to be here. You've got to be here. Our telly doesn't work, and I'd rather it didn't work than have to watch that crap. So Sharky can't stand it. Yeah.
It's either that or Big Brother.
Let me click on it. Steve, hope you are, mate. He says even Jake Savio wasn't a footballer, worst player I have ever
He's up there.
seen. There we go. There we go. Mark says exactly, but I can't remember if they were January/March signings. Love Lomas. He was from a part of the world. Yeah, very good player. Of course. Not that I can remember him because I'm too young. I'm going to make you feel really old here, all of you. But anyway, we are digressing. The other thing I did want to discuss that we're just going to touch on because otherwise we'll be here all night is the potential new contracts of Lucas Paqueta and Kurt Zouma. Let's return to more modern affairs. An XWHU employee reported in the week that West Ham are now going to enter talks with Kurt Zouma and Lucas Paqueta to hopefully agree new contracts with the club. Paqueta currently has a release clause in his contract, which comes into action when the transfer window opens for the summer in June. It was a delayed release clause that comes into action, I believe, then. And the club are looking and hopefully aspiring to remove that release clause from his new contract. I think Kurt Zouma will sign a contract. I've got no doubt about that. We've made him club captain. I don't think he's got anywhere else better to go. I think he'll sign a new contract. If Tim Steiding can sign Lucas Paqueta down to a new contract, give him the keys to Westfield, give him the keys to the London Stadium, give him the keys to East London. I don't think he'll sign a new contract, to be honest with you. I think he'll leave in the summer. I think that's just being realistic. But if we can get these contracts done after getting Bowen down to a new contract, that would be incredible business, and that would be, you know, more valuable than signing 2 or 3 players, I think.
Yeah, I think that Paqueta's, you know, he's really coming of his own this season. You know, the start of the season, we had all that troubles, you know, after him. We were prepared for him to leave to Man City. Then the gambling stuff come about. He's come up leaps and bounds since then. And if we do sign him permanently, I mean, for a longer contract, that'd be brilliant. You know, get that release clause out of the way. He could still sign it and leave in the summer. You know, that's how modern football works. So, but if we do, you know, let's say he gets a 7-year deal as well, and if he's playing out with skin, you know, he could be £150 million worth.
Yeah.
And then a release clause. I don't know how much this release clause is in his current contract, but that'll be fantastic to get him tied down to a longer deal, you know, irrespective if he does go in the summer or not.
What I'm going to do now, Phil, is, you know, the eagle-eyed of you have noticed my light is just packed up as well. Everything in this house is going down. You know, the TV's packed up, my ring light's packed up. But you can tell we're live. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read a comment. I'm going to leave and try and fix this light. And Phil, anything could happen in the next 5 minutes. You could take this show in any way you like. It's down to you. I'm going to leave with Ken. He says, if we got the same money or just over for Zouma for what we paid, I'd like to think about selling him with his injury problems. He is a terrific player, but misses so many games. That is an interesting point. He never looks fit. He does get injured. Getting on a bit. What do you think, Phil?
So Kurt Zouma is obviously now our club captain. Look, we know he's had a few injury problems over the last couple of years, but he's still our best defender. He's, you know, flawless performances always. I wouldn't want to sell him. I mean, he's coming, you know, I don't know how old he must be at, 28, 29 years old now, so obviously he's not young. But yeah, I'd give him a contract, get him a 3-year deal, see how well he can play in that time. And again, he doesn't want to go anywhere else. He loves it here. Considering everything which went on in his personal life the other year, we stuck by him, and he knows that no one else would probably want to touch him. Maybe, obviously, the lure of Saudi money could come into play. But look, if we can keep him fit and he still plays out of his skin like he does most games, then good. Get him down, sign up, and as well with Paqueta. That's what I've got to say about that. And now I'm on my own, everybody.
Don't worry, I just got it back.
You come back. Well, I managed to drag that on a bit.
I've just had to run downstairs. I'm so unfit. I've just tried to sort this out, right? I've just ran downstairs frantically. I've got a new plug out. I've ran back up thinking, I hope Phil's still talking. I can hear you talking on Dad's phone downstairs. I hope he's still talking, running up. Oh, yeah, I can see you wrapping up quick in, and I'm here. Phil,
I had to repeat it a few times.
Pardon?
I had to repeat it a few times. That's right. I should have just done a nice awkward silence for everyone, just for a laugh.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to plug my microphone back in, and we will get cracking. Oh my Lord, Phil, you were a legend.
That's right. It looks a lot better now.
Does it? Good.
Thank
well,
you,
yeah, because there we go. Right, let's sort this out. Let's get that back there. Right. Oh, we've got light again, and it's got brighter actually since I've changed that plug. That is very bright. But top work. Top work.
Thank you, Richard.
So, I think you probably covered it. I didn't listen to a great deal of it, but it sounded like common sense from what I
always
I did here. Of course. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
No. Hopefully, everyone comes back from the international break fit. Everyone who didn't go to international duty, they keep themselves fit as well in training, and hopefully, we can have a nice little victory against Aston Villa. While your jet's setting across the 7 seas.
cruising through
Yeah.
the British. We'll be going through the English Channel to Cherbourg in France on Sunday.
Let's talk about that actually.
All
So
right,
where
okay, all right.
where are you starting off from?
So a week today, well, right now I'll be stuffing my face with food in a week's time. So we'll, allegedly drive down not too far, an hour and a bit down to Southampton to get there, and then we'll get on straight up to the buffet. They put on a nice roast for the first day, nice big Yorkshire pudding. Will be in order, and then so we set off on Saturday night. We are going to Cherbourg first. Mum, put in the chat where we're going because I can't remember. Mum's got it all wrote down. Mum, write in the chat where we're going. I know we're going to Lisbon, Vigo, Porto, and I think there's somewhere else. Cherbourg first, and I think there's somewhere else. Mum will tell me if I'm wrong. So yeah, I'm hoping for a nice top up of the town to start with.
Oh, good.
Good food. Some nice places to look around, of course, but most importantly the food. Let's reiterate that.
Yes. Try something different.
I always do. See, last time on the cruise, I am resound. See, I'm going to tell you something barely anyone knows now, unless you know me. I am. If I go out for breakfast, it's scrambled egg on toast. That's what I have. That's my breakfast.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. If you get a good scrambled egg on toast, it's gorgeous. No butter on it, just the bread and the scrambled egg. No butter.
I thought butter was in the scrambled egg.
It probably is. So there's no need for butter on the toast, and it's got to be just crispy toast. It's not can't be black. It can't be really well done. Just a nice crisp on it. But last time, I was challenged to try something a little bit different by my father, and I had eggs Benedict, which I was particularly proud of. I did have a little bit of scrambled egg on toast on the side as well, because why not? You're on holiday, and I had eggs Benedict. I felt like a right king sat there, with them. Very nice, and it was okay. I prefer my scrambled egg, but I will try something different again. It won't be fish, I can guarantee you that. But I will try something different again to extend my taste buds, and that's what it's all about. I know you like your food, Phil. You're a very cuisine. You like your food. You like good food. We all like good food.
Oh yes, good quality food. Funny thing is, what I was preparing before your dad asked me if I was free for this video.
Yeah.
I was marinating some pork, which I was sliced up, and I was chopping up some peppers and onions. I'm going to do a quick Chinese stir fry, so I'll be doing that soon.
Chinese
so I can't wait. Oh
how
yes.
good half live. Oh,
I know.
Gorgeous. See, I tell you what. From some of the food you've put on Instagram, you cook up some right storms, Phil.
Oh, I know. Well, obviously, I have my inspirations on the food YouTubers as well. I mean, you've probably seen back in the summer, I made this lovely lamb shank recipe. Never done one before. It was unbelievable. It really was. Bought these nice lamb shanks.
Yeah.
Pan fried or seared them, put them to one side, then put the onions and carrots or whatever I did, and everything else, and then it all come out delicious. I put it in the oven for 4 hours.
4 hours.
Low heat, of course. Low heat. So basically, it comes off the bone so nicely. Everyone, I want you to go on lookout to make a lamb shank when this video's finished, and then you'll see what I mean.
I tell you what, if we're ever going hungry, let's just all go around Phil's, because it sounds like we'll have a whale of a time.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, right? Sort of going off the food thing, but you said you're going to Southampton, right?
Yeah.
Next Saturday, I'm actually going to be going to Southampton as well.
Yeah.
I am. It's all maybe I'll be getting there probably in the afternoon time. So basically, I'm going to see my cousin who actually works on cruise ships as a professional dancer.
Right.
So he's going to be working. He's got a contract with Cunard. So they're based down in Southampton. So he's doing 8 weeks of his rehearsals and all the training for the dance routines and everything. So yeah, I'll be seeing him down there. I'll be staying in the Premier Inn near, probably about 5 minutes from Southampton Central Station. So
I love Southampton because I know whenever I'm going to Southampton, it's either for football or to go on a cruise. I love going to Southampton. It's brilliant. See, yeah, there we go. Right, a couple of last comments. What? No porridge. I tell you what, I take it back. The porridge in Fleet Services is absolutely banging. I told Mike about it. He was gracious enough to purchase it for me when we went out. What was that for? The Sheffield United game, was it, or something? I don't know. I can't remember. And yeah, that was very nice. The Man City game, I think it was. That was very nice. In the good breakfast in Fleet Services, the porridge with the little maple syrup, that is very good. Very good. Mike, that is yeah, well corrected of me, of course. How could I forget? How could I forget? The TV's not working. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I don't know what I'm going to do. But there's a new one coming tomorrow. Next day delivery. Or no, Dad's going to pick it up, I think.
4K Ultra HD.
Of course. Only the best for us.
No, of course.
Only the best. Yeah. I think we've got Ultra HD resolution or something. It's all going off. So really, they only bought it so they could watch me in 4K Ultra HD on a 30-inch TV. That's the only reason they buy it, so they can see me in pure and perfect light. But anyway, we're rambling and I'm wasting time. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Drop a like on this live stream if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to West Ham Official if you're new. We will build up to the Aston Villa game towards the back end of next week, and then you won't see me for a week. You may see the odd video here and there. You'll see plenty of food videos in the short section, which I know most of you like to see. There'll be plenty I'll make sure I film a scrambled egg one day to put on there as well, just for reference. But yeah, until the next one, thank you very much. If there's any big news come out, I will report it for you next week. But I will see you all very soon. Phil, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for joining me on this Saturday night.
Thank you, Jake. Pleasure as always.
See, we've talked about food, we've talked about January transfer windows, we've talked about March transfer windows, we talked about Kudus, Paqueta, Zouma, all of it. The place to be, it's right here. Come on, you irons.
Come on, your irons.
We'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.